You're just being a dumbass.
Pleasure. We're all after it in some way or
2 years
another.
amused.
Who linked this?
Some limit themselves or are limited to simple pleasures. Others live lavishly, spending fortunes, indulging in expensive delights just to experience a bit of satisfaction. And our consumerist culture encourages this. And thus, we've come to believe that we need pleasure to feel good, whatever it may be that does the job.
Thank you
Moreover,
so much
many
for
people
streaming.
think
It was
that
getting
pleasure
rough
is where
without you,
happiness lies,
xQcOW.
and that satisfaction isn't possible without it. So we generally see pleasure as the source of our joy, and the absence of pleasure as the cause of dissatisfaction. When equating the acquirement of pleasure with happiness, we logically conclude that the more pleasure we engage in, the more satisfied we feel. But as we all experience, this isn't the case. Pleasure doesn't consistently deliver what it promises, so its results are erratic. What provided us satisfaction in one moment does not in another. How can a luxurious vacation in a tropical paradise make us happy the first and second time, but not so much the third time? It's because pleasure and happiness aren't the same.
Interesting.
Hence, could it be that our culture of consumerism has it all wrong? Could it be that our ongoing pursuits of pleasure send us in the wrong direction? Do we want what we want or not?
Wait,
and if not,
I feel like most things that we think are good, or most things we partake in or whatever, lead us in the wrong direction. That's just kind of how it is.
Does wanting the things we don't want remove us further from what we actually want?
True though.
Who asked?
We burn with desire. Sometimes it makes us crazy, and we go to extremes to fulfill it. And looking at humanity, it looks like most of us just cannot help it.
Yeah, I like that. Instant pleasure is gonna pog.
Seems inherent to our natural existence. Woo! The satisfaction of our desires is short-lived. When we have satisfied one, another takes place, as concluded by Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer saw the fulfillment of desire as a negative experience,
I hope
not
you all
a positive
find
one.
happiness, chat,
I quote,
regardless of if it comes with
I have
pleasure or
reminded-
not.
Someone wants to play? You guys want to play or not?
Play with X? I'm down if he wants to play.
Alright, let me hop on the Discord. Hold up. Hey, hold up. Let me look at Discord.
Pick me up and fuck me, xQcOW.
Oh my god, bruh. There's already 5 of them. Yeah, I already have 5.
Reminded the reader that every state of
I'll DM
welfare,
him.
every feeling of
Let me know.
satisfaction is negative in its character.
I have to
That
add
is
him
to
as
say,
friend.
it consists in freedom from pain, which is the positive element of existence. It
Jesus,
follows,
this video.
therefore, that the happiness of any given life is to be measured not by its joys and pleasures, but by the extent to which it has been free from suffering, from positive evil. If this is the true standpoint, the lower animals appear to enjoy a happier destiny than man. End quote. The pessimistic German philosopher observed that an underlying irrational impulse.
Nah, this is kind of like heat, like fucking like. Yeah, I don't give it. Yeah, this video's kind of whatever. It's gonna, I don't care for it that much. What else? It's like heat. Finish it, guys. It's like heat. It's like, oh man, like cold is the absence of heat type of shit.
Causes a senseless striving in people. He believed that this
you know what? You want to hear what he has to say? We'll fucking listen to it then. Fuck it. 10 minutes. Fuck it. We'll do it.
Causes a senseless striving in people. He believed that this will, or will to live, is the foundation of our instinctual drives. Moreover, he considered it the basis of existence. Most of our desires seem to stem from our will to live, such as our appetite for bodily pleasures and our inclination to reproduce and preserve ourselves. But, according to Schopenhauer, this will causes us to suffer as we spend our lives extinguishing fires while new ones keep appearing to no end. Like the condemned king Sisyphus, we push rocks uphill, only for them to roll down again. The more companies convince us that we need the stuff they sell, the more the fire within us begins to rage. The compound of needs and necessities hard to satisfy, as Schopenhauer described.
No, that is the basis of life. is the fact that you have ups and downs that push you onto an acceptable average, medium. You understand?
A human being only becomes more robust.
You think that no problems, everything being happy, everything being chill, everything being cool, you think you think they'll make you happy? No, it won't.
And thus harder to appease. As we were already inherently burdened with incessant dissatisfaction, the idea that we need even more only deepens our sense of lack. It becomes increasingly challenging to reach what Schopenhauer called to be free from positive evil. It takes higher salaries, more growth in our investments, and more exhausting days of work to purchase satisfaction, which consumerism essentially is. The collective preoccupation with buying consumer goods to feel satisfied, to experience freedom from pain. Pain being the positive element of existence. Consumerism makes us believe it provides us with a path to happiness, but in reality it does the opposite. It makes happiness harder to reach. The more we answer to our desires, the stronger they eventually return, as their flames grow bigger, making it...
Okay, wait. Second chapter says what? True, I agree with that.
The more we answer to our desires, the stronger they eventually return, as their flames grow bigger, making it harder to put them out. Most of us are stuck in the process of putting out those flames, just for them to reappear. Consumerism praises the great fires of craving, presenting them as a meaning of life. So it's preferable to want things, consume, and dream about having expensive things. And thus, companies arouse those desires, those dreams, the bigger, the better, while offering countless pleasures to fulfill them. They light us on fire and then sell us water to quench the blaze. Buddhist monk Ajahn Sona argued that the problem with desire, with wanting and craving, is that as soon as we experience it, we're in debt. There's a sense of lack. I quote, "The moment you want something is the moment you experience the lack of it. You just put yourself in debt." Now, some of you have managed to get out of debt. And what does it feel like when you finally pay off your credit cards? When you finally pay off that mortgage? Lots of people celebrate. It's a feeling of freedom.
Okay,
End quote. Experiencing the lack of something is not a pleasurable experience, as it disturbs our contentment and inner peace. Before we wanted something, we were content. But when wanting came into existence, this contentment vanished and would only return if our desire ceased. As long as this desire persists, we experience debt. We have some bills left to pay before we can feel happy again. The usual solution for this experience is to get what we want. If we want that new phone, we get it. If we want a larger house, we buy it. If we want a specific kind of food, we order it. But what do we actually want? Do we want the phone? Or do we want the burning desire, the pain of it, to end? Do we want a larger house? Or do we want to re-experience...
This is like the journey/destination dilemma.
Our contentment before the desire for this house arose. Do we want a specific kind of food? Or do we want our cravings for it to cease so we feel satisfied? It seems that we don't want what we want. We don't want the phone, the larger house, or the food in themselves. We want what they provide. More specifically, we want them to release us from the pain of not having them. That's why, as soon as we get what we want, the desire for it diminishes. It becomes normal, and we often don't even want it anymore, and it becomes a burden. But we're always looking for satisfaction, which is what we ultimately want, so it seems. Satisfaction, so argues Schopenhauer, isn't a positive experience, but a negative one. I quote, "It is the good which is negative."
I mean, this is like a big-ass doomer, though.
In other words, happiness and satisfaction always imply some desire fulfilled, some state of pain brought to an end. End quote. Thus, we don't want pleasure, we just want the pain to end.
It's like King Doomer. Yeah, exactly as I was gonna say. So what's the solution then?
Current rampant consumerism is
so boring. Sorry, dude. Did it. So I did, and that was holy
tragedy.
I can't
It promises
speak.
us
Fuck
happiness,
me, man.
but only decreases
Holy shit,
the odds
you win.
of experiencing it. It leads to environmental problems, moral degradation, stress, unhappiness, debt, dissatisfaction, and mental issues. It evokes the exact thing that makes us miserable: the experience of lack, the feeling of debt, the pain of craving. But how can we position ourselves in a society that encourages the flames of desire and, of course, wants us to extinguish these flames through consumption? We have several options. First of all, we could engage in consumerism, even though this probably won't provide us with long-term happiness. Moreover, suppose we lose ourselves in the trap of needing more and more external stuff to be happy. In that case, we might eventually become miserable because of the effort required to fulfill our needs. We'll be burning with desire all our lives, putting out the flames while others rise. And the more we want, the hotter the fire. Nevertheless, it's a path many people walk from birth to grave. An extreme option that would solve the problem would be eliminating any desire for pleasure. Such asceticism, however, isn't for everyone. Moreover, it's likely that despite one's attempt to achieve it, one never reaches it. Speaking in Schopenhauer's terms, we're equipped or cursed with a will to live, a drive inherent to being human. Trying to eliminate the pain of desire would mean denying the will to live, which, according to Schopenhauer, is very hard. There are still people who try, though. Buddhist monks, for example, live ascetic lifestyles, which...
The problem is not about... listen. In my opinion, okay, it's all cool to have like perfect balance, perfect this, perfect that, everything perfect, everything whatever the fuck, right? But I think we're human. I think it's fun to have excess and dumbness and purposefully go into the fire to walk out of it. I think that's okay. I don't see a problem in that.
For external things. Stoics also reduce the
because at the end of the day, it's what makes you feel alive somehow, man. Sometimes a little bit of pain makes you feel alive. At least you don't feel numb. You don't feel like you're not living through any experiences or whatever. A little bit of pain, a little bit of healing, a little bit of celebration. Everybody can have that, man.
Desire for things not in their control through practice. And when a cessation of craving takes place, when one conquers the will to live, one is left with uninterrupted contentment. A noble goal, but for most of us, very difficult to reach. We could also attempt to find a middle way, a moderate engagement in pleasure and desire, a way to experience pleasure without getting lost in it, and without exhausting or even destroying ourselves in the pursuit of them. One philosophy to examine is Epicureanism, which distinguishes different categories of pleasures. We often desire...
Bro, I'm about to turn into a fucking marble statue, motherfucker, from the Greek ages, they've been fucking Q, man. 8 minutes or some shit, waiting for a fucking game show up, man. I'm finna turn into a philosopher, bitch. Fuck! Pleasure, give me a fucking game already, Christ, man!
Pleasures we don't need to gain a sense of satisfaction.
Holy shit!
Some of these unnecessary desires are natural, like wanting a big house, elegant food, and physical intimacy. But according to Epicurus, they aren't necessary to satisfy ourselves, and thus we shouldn't focus on them. The worst desires, according to the ancient Greek philosopher, are vain desires, as they aren't natural or necessary. Extreme wealth, fame, and power are examples of these. Epicurus teaches us to enjoy simple pleasures, like eating simple meals and chatting with friends. If we develop a taste for simple pleasures that are widely available, we significantly reduce the cost of our satisfaction. For example, many people find satisfaction in going to the shopping mall, where they spend their hard-earned money on stuff they often don't need, going from store to store, purchase to purchase, then to the food court, then to the next mall. Shopping is an expensive method of releasing ourselves from the pain of dissatisfaction. A much cheaper alternative would be to go for a walk. Epicurus also encourages us to appreciate the things we have, instead of always looking for more, saying, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for."
Fuck yeah. End quote. Them. You know what?
Reigniting appreciation.
I connect a lot with, I think, this part of the video. Not even a little bit with any of the other ones. This part, though, very much so, though.
For what we have is a cheap way of reducing our desire for what we haven't. We don't have to work extra hours to enjoy the stuff we don't need to buy. Arthur Schopenhauer also offers a cheap way of satisfaction.
What? Oh, because it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I don't have to prove it. Here's a good example. Here's a good example. Here's a great one. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Okay.
Welcome to Junkerpeg.
Exactly. You guys say the car like it's against me as an argument. It's not. It's actually, you know, dude, I can use that as an example. That's a great argument. The car, I can't even drive it. Right? Everybody agrees with that. I can't even drive the car.
Hello.
Right? What I do it is an Amza. I go in the garage and I sit in the car. I just sit in it. What? Because I appreciate there was a time where I couldn't afford it. And I couldn't afford something like that. Right? And I appreciate that I don't want a new one or a better one or some other shit. I just go in it and I just sit in the passenger seat or driver's seat in a garage. I'm like, wow, man, this is sick. I couldn't have that before. Now I did it. And I'm grateful for that. I don't need anything better than that. I have that. I'm chilling it. And I have that. I do that with like a lot of things that I have it. Even the smallest fucking things, like fucking a box of fucking popsicles, man. Like it's that simple. I fucking love it. So that's why I said I relate to that part of the video more. It's not a bad example. That's a great example, actually. Well, that's a great example.
Yo, this is X on the beat, yo. Okay.
My voice as well.
That is. Anyone knows that boy? I don't know, he's just so soy. Anyone knows that boy? I don't know, he's just so soy.